Top 10 movies of 2025. 2025, the weakest film year I've ever experienced in my life. I pray God that 2026 is stronger. I've seen several 2026 films so far, and the only one that I consider to be a good film was Project Hail Mary. So far, not looking too good. But anywho, let's talk about 2025, shall we? Here are my 5 honorable mentions from furthest to closest to making it into my top 10, but falling short. The Fantastic Four First Steps, Materialist, One Battle After Another, Surat, and It Was Just an Accident. Number 10, Avatar Fire and Ash. Best visual effects of the year, hands down. Amazing visual design, amazing production design, amazing cinematography, and a sensational motion capture performance from Una Chaplin, who plays the villain Varong, who absolutely steals this movie. First half of the movie pretty messy, but then second half of the movie finds its footing, and it makes for a great movie. Better movie than its predecessor, Avatar: The Way of Water, which I gave a 3 out of 10. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. For the record, all 10 movies in my top 10 are an 8 out of 10. Yeah, there's no 9 out of 10, there's no 10 out of 10. They're all 8 out of 10s. Number 9, Train Dreams. Great achievement in cinematography, a great performance from Joel Edgerton. I'm kind of surprised at some of the things that happens in this story. It's a deeply heartfelt story. It's a deeply moving story. There are some unresolved plot threads, and the second half does drag quite a bit, but it still makes for a great movie. This has some crazy Terrence Malick vibes. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Number 8, Sinners. Very happy with this movie's awards trajectory. It was one of my more preferred movies in the Oscar Best Picture lineup. It has great editing, great direction, great action. Yeah, very good stunts. The stunt work was great. The makeup work was also spectacular as well. The third act has some flaws in both its writing and execution, but the rest of the movie is so good that, it doesn't bring it down too much. This movie is a movie that is littered with a bunch of really good performances, particularly from Michael B. Jordan and from Delroy Lindo. Also, got to shout out Haley Steinfeld, and also got to shout out Miles Caton, who is a really, really, really great singer. That kid is blessed with a talent. 8 out of 10. Number 7, Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery. This is the third time a Knives Out film has entered into my top 10 of a movie year. So yeah, this franchise is pretty consistent. It's very fun. It's got some good twists. It has great writing, great editing. The only problem is that it gets to a point where it gets very convoluted. This is more convoluted than the first Knives Out film and Glass Onion. But eventually all the pieces do coalesce. 8 out of 10. Number 6, Sorry Baby. I said in a previous video that Sorry Baby is one of the best movies of 2025, and as you can see, I still stand by that. This movie is absolutely hilarious. It is a comedy, even though the subject matter is very, very serious. It has a great performance from Eva Victor, who also wrote and directed this movie. And the score was amazing. One of the best pieces of music of the year. It should have been nominated for Best Original Score. 8 out of 10. A very nice, heartfelt movie. A dramedy. Number 5, Zootopia 2. This is a worthy sequel to the first Zootopia film, with great voice performances, a very fun song called Zoo by Shakira, Ed Sheeran, and Blake Slatkin, sung by Shakira's character Gazelle, and this is a really good. This movie has really great character development between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Yeah, well written and just really colorful, lively, great animation, really really fun. 8 out of 10. Number 4, K-pop Demon Hunters. Speaking of colorful, speaking of lively, speaking of great animation, this thing has fantastic animation. This is a glorious feat of editing. Like, I don't usually single out animated films for their editing, so which just goes to show you how much I regard the editing of this movie. This editing is fantastic. The songs are extremely catchy. I listen to some of them to this day, and the and like I said, the animation all around is just spectacular. The designs are great. This movie is really funny. This movie is really heartfelt. There were some issues I had with the third act. Um, Slightly less of an egregious third act offender as Sinners, but there were still some problems I had there. Nonetheless, absolutely fantastic movie. 8 out of 10. Number 3, Little Amelie, or the character of Rain. Very beautiful, very poignant, very sweet. A Belgian family is living in Japan, and we see the relationship between um, a person that family hires named Nishio-san and their daughter Amelie. Those two have a very strong bond, and this movie is very moving. So if you want like just a great time, uh, and you want to see a very sweet and poignant story, I highly recommend this movie. 8 out of 10. Number 2, The Secret Agent. This has very important subject matter and very powerful subject matter. This is a movie about fractured memory. This is a movie about fascist governments. It's a snapshot of 1970s Brazil. It's not based on a true story, but it does give you an insight to what's going on in, I think, northeast Brazil during the 1970s. A very spectacular feat of editing. Um, it does drag a little bit in the first half. In the second half, there's like some rising tension that um, that keeps on rising and the tension keeps on rising and rising and rising, and then it builds towards a third act that is absolutely great. This is easily one of the best movies of the year, and this is my favorite international feature of the year. Sentimental value, which is not nowhere is not mentioned on this list at all. It's a good movie, but it fell short of my honorable mentions. But I'm not too upset at its Oscar win. I just preferred The Secret Agent. 8 out of 10. Number 1, Marty Supreme. Absolutely thrilling. Great performance from Timothy Chalamet. Um, One of the best scores of the year. My favorite score of the year is Arco, but I think Marty Supreme is my second favorite score of the year. Um, this movie is directed well, written well. I do think that there were certain like there were certain plot points where it felt like characters were like forced. A lot of the irrational character decisions that were made felt forced. A lot of some of the conflict in the story felt forced, I would say. But overall, this movie is a blast, an absolute blast to watch. Like I was definitely engrossed from beginning to end. Great ensemble too. And this is an 8 out of 10. All right, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, feel free to like, and if you do so, that'll be greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for my first round of 2027 Oscar nomination predictions. And until next time, Shalom.